FightHype.com here with Rozier. How you doing today, man?
How you doing, nephew?
No complaints at all. So Edgar Berlanga is obviously going to be fighting this weekend against Alexis Angulo. How do you see that fight playing out since you've been working with Edgar for a really long time now?
Well, I've watched Angulo. I was studying a few of his fights. He's a plotter. He's strong, and he's tough. He went the full distance with Zordo. He also went 10 rounds with David Benavidez, who was stopped in the last round. So he has some traction on him, and he's pretty tough.
Gotcha.
You have to break him down. You got to get that jab going and keep him off balance because he sets the punch. So Edgar has to keep the jab moving up and down, and work his body a bit because he's an older fighter, and just give him different looks and different angles.
If I'm not mistaken, Edgar spent the whole 8-week training camp in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, he did.
So that means you guys didn't work together for this fight pretty much, right?
No, we didn't.
Gotcha. Now, everything okay with you guys relationship-wise?
It's with me, yes. I can't speak for anybody else, but as far as I'm concerned, he's still nephew, and that's it.
Gotcha. Now, in terms of what do you see, how do you kind of see the fight playing out in terms of, do you see Edgar trying to get the early stoppage, kind of getting back to his first round knockout ways, or do you think it's going to be a lot more difficult to, kind of get that streak back going?
Well, if he doesn't look for it, it can happen. You can't force these knockouts. They come when they're supposed to. You create the ambiance of a knockout. So as long as he doesn't try to force the issue or push the pedal for a knockout, let it manifest and let it grow into what it could be, and you catch him by surprise, and that's when things work.
Do you think that's probably been the issue with Edgar? I mean, he has won his last 3 fights pretty handedly, but he hasn't caught the knockout like a lot of people have. Do you think he's just been kind of hunting for it recently?
Well, sometimes he tries a little bit too hard, and that's a boxing requiem. Most boxers try too hard at one point or another. And once he settles down into it and places his punches, he'll start to reap the rewards of KOs and knockouts again.
16 straight knockouts in a row in the first round. It brought him a lot of star power. Now he comes to the ring with Fat Joe, got Fabulous in there, Mano, a whole bunch of stars from New York. Do you think that kind of star power kind of is, I guess I want to say, maybe distracting to him?
Well, it can be distracting. When you're boxing, just like when anybody else is attributing themselves to their form or fashion of work, you have to focus on boxing. So you don't have to worry about the celebrities. You keep winning, you become one. And it doesn't come prematurely. You have to create it through hard work and perseverance. So he needs to focus on boxing, using his jab to create those moments that people get excited about, and his time will come.
When I was just talking to you about, you not working for Edgar with this fight, you seemed like a little, I guess I want to say a little bit maybe sad about it, or just a little bit like, you wasn't really expecting it. In terms of just the fallout for this fight, would you say that going forward that you guys would probably be okay?
Well, I mean, I'm okay right now. Things didn't work out the way I expected them to, but there's no love lost. I mean, he's still one of my favorite guys and one of my favorite nephews. I just want to see him do well, be successful, and become a world champion one day. No more, no less. I don't have to be there with him for him to do that. I just want to see it happen for him.
Do you think how long do you think it'll take before Edgar is ready to fight a guy like David Benavidez, David Morrell? They keep on mentioning those kind of guys. How long do you think it'll take? Do you think it'll take a year, the following year, or do you think it's going to take more of a maturation process both inside and outside the ring?
Well, that entirely depends on Edgar. Edgar's a fantastic fighter. He's a really great boxer. People don't get to see that because he's not showing it, but I know it because I've worked with him and I know what he can do. Once he shows the world that he can do these things, then he'll be ready for the upper tier guys.
As a trainer, seeing what you see from him behind the scenes, how well he boxes, and then he goes into fight night, and then he looks for knockouts. Was it frustrating for you just in terms of, hey, I've seen what you've done when the lights aren't on, but when the lights are on, you're not doing the same thing? Was it frustrating to kind of get through?
Well, it's always frustrating to not follow a game plan. My thing is, as everybody knows, we work off the jab. And literally, as we saw in the Haney-Kambosos fight, you can win a world, be undisputed at that, an undisputed world champion with just the utilization of a fantastic jab and following through. So Edgar has a ramrod jab. I mean, he can break faces with it. He has to continually use it and make it the weapon of control. Once he does that, then you'll see more and more things happen for him. So I'd love to see him sit down and work off the stick and control the action and show his true capability in the ring.
Gotcha. Can you just give me your official prediction for how it plays out? No bias or anything like that, Dre. Just your official pick.
Well, of course, I can only try not to be biased. I mean, it is my nephew, but I expect him to box well, use his jab, and if he doesn't try too hard, put some articulation into his punches, and he could shake this guy up and get him out of there.
Angulo has only been stopped one time, and that was against David Benavidez. Do you think if he gets to the later rounds, it could be a little bit of an issue for Edgar?
Well, he seems to be in great shape. I'm not expecting that to be the case. Only time will tell, but I'm expecting a really good performance out of him.